Texas A&M had another dominant win this past weekend. Let's break it down.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. You are Locked On the Texas A&M Aggies. I am your host, Matt Galatzan, publisher of Texas A&M Aggies on SI. Thank you so much for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Harrison, Texas A&M is coming off of another dominant showing. It was a little bit of a slow start. That first half was a little bit of a drag. We're not going to lie about that one. But in the second half, things really turned around for the Aggies. They routed Mississippi State in the second half, as a matter of fact, outscoring them 24-6 over the final two quarters. The running game was on point. Rueben Owens had his best game of the season. Mario Craver showed up big time. But overall, just another really, really big and important win for this Texas A&M team, who just continues to keep chugging.
Yeah, Matt, I want to open this by saying I was wrong. I don't know if I quite, I expected the offense to be better this year, but I don't know if I quite expected it to be, this explosive. Slow start in the first half, you nailed it. 7-3 halftime score. Really didn't get going to the fourth quarter. You had a couple takeaways on defense that really helped you get light a fire under you. But Matt, it's just this year, when they need an explosive, they have two of the best, most explosive receivers in college football. And they've taken everybody by storm, every game by storm. They've taken over every game. They've been there when you need them most. I didn't quite expect it to be this easy. And as we saw this weekend in college football, with the way A&M's passing it, with the way A&M's offensive line's playing, this is rare in today's world. Offensive line across the nation this year seem to be down. Defensive line play also kind of trench play also seems to be kind of down this year. You don't have anyone really dominating. And right now, A&M is simply just kind of dominating some of these position groups. Offensive line, I think your defense, your pass rush is dominating. Receivers, you have two of the most explosive receivers in college football. Matt, I was wrong about this group. I thought they're going to be better, but this is well above my expectation coming into this year right now. And I get it. Slow start Saturday. You only put up 16 points versus Auburn. You did what you need to. But I mean, I'm quite impressed with what I've seen so far.
There is so many different ways this team can beat you. Whether it's Marcel Reed throwing for 1 billion yards like he did against Notre Dame, Mario Craver getting involved in 27 different ways like he did on Saturday, Rueben Owens showing up, rushing for 142 yards. Last week it was Le'Veon Moss rushing for 139. This defense is just not giving up anything so far over the last couple of weeks. I don't know what they did to this defense, by the way. I get that Auburn and Mississippi State are not exactly Notre Dame. But there's some talent on that offense. We talked about it last week with Mississippi State. We talked about, that rushing attack and those receivers for Auburn 2 weeks ago. I mean, man, this defense has just been unreal these last couple weeks. Mike Elko has them dialed in. They held Fluff Bothwell, which is, I hope this is the last time I have to say his name this year because I always have trouble with it. 14 carries for 60 yards. I think he actually got injured in this game as well, which is extremely unfortunate. So prayers out to him. But Blake Shapen, 15 of 20 for just 142 yards, a touchdown and a pick, 51.2 QBR. They held Brennan Thompson to two catches for 54 yards. Anthony Evans, 5 catches for 41 yards. The lone leak this entire game was in the fourth quarter when Brennan Thompson escaped for a 44-yard touchdown, and it was basically meaningless at that point. Just all across the board. Torian York, 10 tackles. Damian Sanford, 9 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Dalton Brooks had a TFL. Cassius Howell had another 3 sacks and 3 TFLs. Jordan Lockhart had a TFL. Will Lee had a TFL. 4 total sacks for this Aggies team. I mean, this is the best stretch of 2 weeks we have seen from an Aggies defense in quite some time.
And you have two right now, all SEC first team players. Turian York has been playing out of his mind, like even better than what we expected him to be playing at right now. The Auburn game, he was all over the field. This week, he's been all over the field. I mean, look, Cassius Howell, you had a first round edge rusher last year, and you had a second round edge rusher last year. And Cassius Howell has put up more production than both of them in just 5 games. He has 7 sacks in 5 games. That's ridiculous. Matt, like I said at the top of this, I expected improvement. I didn't expect it to look like this. And I get it. Auburn's not the world beater. Mississippi State's not the world beater. But this football game turned out to be, coming into it, a little bit more competitive. You expect it to be more competitive than we thought it would back in August. Like, I didn't expect Mississippi State to be a 2-loss football team at this point in the year. I know they're still winless in the SEC, but they're putting up some fights, and they gave A&M a fight in that first half. Was no means an easy walkthrough win. Mississippi State's a better football team this year, and A&M went out there slow start and all, and still came out there with a 31-9 win. I'm impressed. I think you said it best. This team can beat you in a lot of ways. They can beat you route one style in a shootout. You know, if you want to go toe for toe, trade explosive plays, they got 4 or 5 players that can be explosive. If you want to go down and be in the trenches and win this game with as little points as possible, this team can beat you that way too. It's impressive. It's a complete 180 from the last 4 years. This is a team to be excited about, Matt. And maybe this is a hot take, Matt, but outside of Miami, this team's been just as impressive as anybody in college football right now. This is one of the hottest teams in college football right now. Miami, I think a lot of people say you remove the AP poll and their preseason BS out of it. Miami's probably the number 1 team in the college football right now. A&M's top 5. And you might have a case A&M's top 3. You might find a lot of detractors to that statement. But I look at the SEC right now. I see Texas A&M, Ole Miss. I see Bama potentially finding itself. And who am I forgetting? I mean, those 3 are the top teams right now off the top of my head in the SEC. I don't know if you would have been saying that maybe 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And this game really turned around. It was close all the way up until, late in the third quarter. Then Texas A&M had a drive. 17-yard run by Rueben Owens, followed by a 42-yard pass from Marcel Reed to Mario Craver. And that drive ended up with a 2-yard completion to Casey Concepcion from Marcel Reed for a touchdown. That is the drive that really broke this game open for Texas A&M. After that, it was touchdown, field goal for Texas A&M, and then their final drive, they ran the clock out. So, unbelievable showing from Texas A&M offensively late in the third quarter and on. The defense was dominant the entire game. And look, I agree with you. If you look at the rankings, which we're going to get into later in the show, I don't know if you can say there is a better football team, a team that is playing better right now than Texas A&M. Even Miami, who has been extremely good, there's at least an argument to be made there. I think these 2 teams have been playing better than any other 2 teams in the country. Maybe Oregon you could throw in there as well. Ole Miss has been awesome. But I feel like Texas A&M right now, as it sits, is the best team in the SEC, and there is not a soul outside of Aggie land who would have predicted that by the end of week 6, halfway through the season, at least in my opinion. And that really says a lot about what Mike Elko has accomplished in College Station, a lot about what they have done in the transfer portal, the way this team is buying in, the culture, which is the buzzword that everybody always uses with Mike Elko. It's real now. It's real. And Texas A&M, their schedule has really lightened up, in my opinion, from what we thought it was going to be before the season started. There's still a lot of tough games. Florida looks a hell of a lot tougher this week than it did last week. That trip to LSU is going to be tough. That trip to Missouri is going to be a lot tougher than we thought. We'll see what South Carolina does. Texas is, I don't know. Maybe they turn things around starting this week against Oklahoma. Maybe A&M wins that game by 40. I don't know at this point. But right now, I think it's unquestioned that after this this performance against Mississippi State, Texas A&M is at least in the conversation as the top team in the SEC, and deservedly so.
Mike Elko, we're talking about it too. I'll let him notice. We are talking about it. All right, like we're talking about the 5-0 start.
Yes.
Don't group us in with the rest. We're going to focus on the negatives just like we'll focus on the positives. But the big positive right now is you're 5-0 and you're top the SEC standings or near the top of the SEC standings. I don't know how the tiebreakers work right now in terms of the standings, but you're undefeated in SEC play heading into week 6.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So don't yell at us, Mike. We're doing our jobs over here. All right. So let's take our first break, Harrison. When we come back, we're going to talk about our game balls, who we thought deserves, the most recognition for this Texas A&M win. And later in the show, we will break up the new AP Top 25, break it down, do all the things, give our thoughts on a massive, massive shakeup in college football this weekend. So stick with us, and we'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can occasionally get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections, like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in under a minute. It's also fun to follow other players on the app and copy their lineups with one click. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKDOWNCollege to get $50 off in lineups after you pay your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKDOWNCollege for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, Harrison. Game ball time. A lot of Aggies showed out this week. Maybe not the ones that we predicted before the week started. I don't know that anybody had Damian Sanford being a co-SEC player of the week going into this game. And he might be on our list. But I'm going to start things off with our game balls for Texas A&M. I got to go Rueben Owens. He's my guy. I've been following him since he was a sophomore over in the Houston area, and he's extreme. He's been waiting for a performance like this for a long time, and he finally got it. He rushed for 142 yards on 21 carries. He had a long of 37, and he also had one catch for 19 yards. He was everywhere for Texas A&M. He was their most explosive player on the day, in my book, and like I said, it's been such a long road for this guy with the injuries and the waiting and all this different stuff. He finally gets his big breakout performance, and I don't think this is going to be the last time we talk about that this year.
It's an embarrassment of riches at that position, too. I mean, look, there's Rueben Owens, there's Le'Veon Moss. We've talked about them till the cows come home. And then you have the true freshman, Jamarian Morrow, had a 23-yard run in that first half.
Mm-hmm.
You have Amari Daniels coming off the bench as well. This is a really good group, man. Like you said, it's been a long road for Rueben Owens. I remember him coming out of high school as that 5-star, and what was it, Louisville he was committed to for a little bit there. I think every major program in the country was after that young man. He ends up in College Station, and he's putting together a fine career for himself. He's going to have an opportunity to continue to be productive and have a chance to go really high in the NFL draft if he stays healthy and continues to run like he's running so far, especially on Saturday night. For me, it's low-hanging fruit, Matt, but I really have to do it. I mean, it's not a game ball segment without it. Damian Sanford, like you said, co-SEC player of the week this week, but not even just for that. Like, his performance statistically has been amazing. 9 tackles, 1 sack, 2 TFLs, the interception. But when you combine it with the fact that he's having to fill in for Scooby Williams, the injured inside linebacker guy that played on one healthy knee last year. Damian Sanford has given them a massive, massive headache when Scooby comes back. What the heck are you going to do? I mean, you're talking about 4 of their best players could be considered linebackers. And I get it, Cassius Howell is probably a defensive end, but if he's a outside linebacker at times, 3 of their best players are linebackers, and I can figure out a way to get all these guys on the field. Good news is, Matt, Damian Sanford is not just your typical off-ball linebacker. This guy's been impressive as a blitzer. This guy got a sack on Saturday off a blitz. I love the little double mug that they showed. They showed pressure. They showed 6 up front. They brought 4. It got home. Damian Sanford's been impressive. Then you look at him turn and run up field to go make that interception on that football. It's just impressive, Matt. I mean, game ball for him. You got to do. I mean, Turner York probably deserves a game ball every week that he steps on the football field at this point. But Damian Sanford has been a huge standout in an Aggies defense that has looked so much improved. Matt, they're 6th in the nation in sacks right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have predicted that?
Not me. That's for sure. I mean, I thought Cassius Howell was going to be good, but 2 games with 3 sacks already this season.
One versus SEC competition too.
Yeah, he's just been unbelievable. So good for him. I have another game ball for you. You may have another one as well. I'm going to stick on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to go with Mario Craver. I know that he didn't have the 2 receiving touchdowns like Casey Concepcion did. He did have a rushing touchdown, however. He had 6 catches for 80 yards, long of 42. He also had 2 rushes for 35 yards and a score. But this one came against his old team. You know that he really wanted to perform big in this game. He did just that. He was unbelievable the entire day for Texas A&M. And he just continues to eat and eat and eat every single week. With the lone exception of the Auburn game, he has had at least 80 yards receiving in every single game this season. And most of those games he's gone over 100. Hell, most of those games he's gone over like 130, I think. So he's just been unbelievable. He continues to be the most explosive playmaker on this team, and I couldn't be happier for him to have it happen against his old team again.
He's an exceptional portal find. When we talk about programs that do the portal right, it's guys that they go out there and get guys that maybe are overlooked by some programs, and they come in and just be an immediate day one player for him. There wasn't much to watch of Mario Craver last year. There wasn't much to know about him. He was a bit part player for Mississippi State last year. And whether that was the fault of him, the system, the quarterback issues they had, I had no clue what Mario Craver was going to be here in College Station. Absolutely no clue. We knew he was speed. We knew he could take the top off the defense. You can see that in highlights that he did have Mississippi State. This guy's developed into a more complete wide receiver. He's not just your gadget. Hey, go run 50 yards downfield. We'll find you down there somewhere. This guy's doing it intermediately. This guy's doing it in the short game. This guy's doing it at the top. This guy's dynamic, really dynamic. And it was my whole thought process with this A&M offense was going to be, okay, you have one all-SEC talent at receiver in Kevin Concepcion. You just need Mario Craver and Terry Bussey to combine to, give you maybe 1,000 yards between the two of them, and you're going to be much more improved on offense. I didn't have Mario Craver and Kevin Concepcion both playing at all SEC levels through 6 games. It's ridiculous. I'm with you there. Game ball to him.
They might both be first-team all-SEC at the end of the year. That's how good they've been. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm wrong. I thought they were going to be improved, but I still managed to be wrong, Matt. I didn't think they were going to be this much improved. Last one for me. Let's give it to Dalton Brooks, Matt. I know the easy grabs, a Torian York, a Cassius Howell. Guy's playing like his head's on fire. Doesn't even have to be on the field every play, and he still makes some of the most impact up front for you. Dalton Brooks had that key fumble recovery late in that game. I don't know how he got that ball out. I don't know how he did it. A&M safeties. I know Bryce Anderson was catching a lot of heat before he got hurt. I believe it was the Utah State game that he was catching some criticism online. And A&M safeties were under the microscope in terms of, hey, those guys need to play a little bit better, just like the corners. Dalton Brooks comes out there and have a good game, gets you a TFL, 4 tackles, obviously the fumble recovery. Good game. I mean, all around, there is a case to be made for a lot of these players that deserve a game ball. And yes, Matt, I was thinking, do I be that guy and do I give a game ball to a punter? 2 punts inside the 20. I didn't, but maybe. Hey, if Tyler White pins a team inside the 1, like on the 1-yard line, that's a game ball performance right there, especially if it turns into points your way somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he even got some SEC special teams player of the week honors, if I'm not mistaken, this week. He was great. He was great. He was named the here it is. He was named the Ray Guy Award. Um, Ray Guy Awards Ray's 8 week 6 list, which is some of the best punters over the weekend. He made the top whatever list of punters, and he did a great job. Two inside the 20. They needed that big time.
My
All right,
life's
Harrison.
complete. I got Matt to talk punters and special teams on this show. I can retire. I'm good with my life. It finally happened.
You won't find it very often, I'll tell you that. All right, let's take our next break, Harrison. When we come back, we are going to dive into the AP Top 25. Some big movers, some big droppers, I should say, in the AP Top 25. And we may get into a little bit of a brief Florida preview as well. So stick with us, and we will be right back. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. Tailgates, rivalries, the energy in the stands. There's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games for as low as $25. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Today's episode is also brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home, whether it's a sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. When your neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. There's a local spot in College Station that's been the heart of our community for years. It's the kind of place where you walk in and everyone knows your name. For me, that's Max Donuts. I love a good donut on Saturday morning to get my day started off right. Nothing's better than a good glazed or a maple donut to start the day. And Max, they've got that in spades. So it's a great spot. And I would highly recommend everybody going out there using Square and getting you a donut today. But Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world, just like Max Donuts. You can go to square.com/go/lockdowncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. All right, Harrison. New top 25 is out. I don't know that I expected to see Texas drop from the top 10 all the way out of the top 25. I thought they'd be in the 20s. They played piss poor on Saturday against Florida. So I think they deserved it until they prove that they can, hang in the SEC. They shouldn't be in there. That was absolutely atrocious. They drop out of the top 25. Penn State also drops out of the top 25. They got blitzed by UCLA for the majority of that game. I believe the score ended up being a little bit closer than when I got away from it. Last time I saw it was like 27-3 or something. Penn State was down to UCLA. Sorry, 27-7 in the first half. Penn State fought back in the second half and made it a game, but absolutely embarrassing showing by Penn State there. They drop out of the top 25. That was a team that was ranked number 2 for a long time. And then they got beat by Oregon in overtime. Now they get an embarrassing one there. So now the rankings are much different than I think a lot of us expected heading into this season. Here's your new top 10. Number 1, Ohio State. Still 5-0, still looking good. Number 2, Miami. They go up one spot. They go ahead of Oregon, who's number 3. They still have a 5-0 record. Ole Miss at 5-0. Texas A&M at number 5 is also 5-0. Oklahoma at number 6. Indiana at number 7. Alabama goes up to number 8 after demolishing Vanderbilt in the final half of the fourth quarter. Georgia's back into the top 10. Some other notable ones. Georgia Tech rises all the way up to 13. Missouri up all the way up to 14. Michigan to 15. Notre Dame to 16. Illinois to 17. BYU 18. Virginia, who's 5-1 now, at number 19. Vanderbilt drops all the way to 20. Iowa State was embarrassed by Cincinnati. They drop all the way to 22. Florida State, after losing to Miami, drops all the way to 25. And like we said, Texas and Penn State both dropped out of the top 25 from number 7 and number 9, respectively. I think Texas A&M should be in the top 5 for sure. I would like for them to be higher. It's hard to make the argument that they're higher right now because Ole Miss has that win over LSU. They're already 3-0 in the SEC. Oregon's got the win over Penn State, which actually doesn't look like it means that much anymore right now. Miami has been dominant all season long, and Ohio State continues to be Ohio State. But what's your take on this top 25, Harrison? Because for me, it's a lot of moving and shaking in this one.
I'm with you. I didn't expect Texas and Penn State to drop out. Although, like we talked about last week, I didn't like Penn State was always overhyped to me. The second tier of the Big Ten's always overhyped year after year. It's like they're always up in here. Illinois is still up in here. Granted, they got a good win last week, I believe it was, to put them back into where they probably should be. Matt, I'm with you. I think A&M is probably in a good spot where they should be. If we're taking preseason narratives out of this, Miami's number 1 to me. And you're looking at maybe A&M, Ole Miss, Oregon. Maybe you can put Ohio State in terms of who's number 2. Miami's looked the best so far in terms of taking out preseason narratives and preseason expectations. They've looked like the number 1 team in college football right now. But before we go any further with this segment, I would just like to acknowledge that 10-2 Vandy doesn't look as ridiculous as maybe it did the other week.
It's not happening, Harrison. It's not happening.
9-3 Vandy. Go ahead, hop on the train. It's Pavia season. I can't believe Bama got the backdoor cover. That really hurt me.
Nah, they're going to get blitzed by Missouri. They're going to get beat by Tennessee. They're an 8-4 football team. They'll have another loss along the way. I still think Texas beats them. We'll see. But props to you. They played a lot better in that game than I thought they were going to. Alabama ended up dominating them in the last few minutes of that game. Thank God, because if I had to see Johnny Manziel wearing a Diego Pavia jersey for another minute, I was going to have a heart attack. But here we are. All right.
Trinidad Chambliss or Austin Simmons, by the way. Who's Ole Miss's guy down the stretch? Do you stick with Chambliss?
It's Trinidad Chambliss. It's got to be Trinidad Chambliss. He's been
Austin Simmons. So far. Does Austin Simmons come back and transfer next year then?
Trinidad Chambliss has 2 years of eligibility, so
Austin Simmons is gone.
He may be. I'm not sure. Hey, we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting situation, that's for sure. Ole Miss doesn't have a star QB coming in next year, and the year after that, I think they have a pretty good quarterback coming in. They just got to commit this past weekend, but it's going to be one of the more interesting quarterback stories throughout the year. That's for sure. All right, let's stop it there, Harrison. We'll get into some Florida preview throughout the week. Tomorrow, we've got a crossover with Locked On Gators, which is going to be very exciting to kick off our Florida week preview. They are a lot better football team than I thought they were going to be this week. That's for sure. Is that Texas sucking? Or is that Florida being good? It may have been a little bit of both, but Dallas Wilson certainly made a difference. So Texas A&M needs to make sure that they lock into him because he looks like a Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams hybrid of some sort. It was very freaky, some of the things that he was able to do on Saturday. So we're going to get into that tomorrow, but we're going to stop the show there. Thank you so much for making Locked On Aggies your first listen today. But hey, it's another big moment for Locked On. Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. It's a college football preview that only Locked On can do. Catch college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our podcast. Give me a follow on Texas A&M Aggies on SI and on X at Matt Galatzan. Follow Harrison on X at Harrison Reno, and we'll see you next time. You need to stop pushing that Vandy narrative, Harrison. I can't do it. I can't do it.